Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining this discovery webinar. My name is Janice. I am based here in Singapore from the VentureBlick team, and it's my absolute privilege to welcome you. And thank you so much for joining us. I see there's already some activity on the chat. Please tell us where you're dialing in from. There's like 70 over people and counting, and I'm super happy to see people from Europe, Germany is represented, people from India, Korea, Singapore here, right here. Even NYC, Manoj, thanks for dialing in. Australia, it's going to be a bit late for you, but thanks so much for spending your Thursday evening with us. Gary from Singapore, Prashant, hello, Switzerland. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Today's topic is, I think, very interesting to all of us. That's why we're here. It's about AI and the application of AI by clinicians globally. Is that a reality? Or is that a fantasy? We have a great lineup of speakers. We have a panel of speakers from different parts of the world. And we also have a clinician innovator who's going to be sharing with us her perspectives, her experiences about the application of AI in the real world. But before that, before I invite our first speaker, can I just get a sense of what you actually think about this topic? So I'm going to launch a poll. I would like you to, let's see. There we go. Tell me if you are team fantasy or if you are team reality. No right or wrong here. We just want to know whether it's split down the middle, 50-50, or if it's going to be something that, people are, really about, okay, fantasy, or really over to your side. Okay, let me just have a look. How many people? All right, it's 47. We're just going to get a few more people to participate. We're up at 40 people. Okay, I think we should move on. So I'm just going to end the poll right here. It looks like it's not split in the middle. And there is actually, well, majority people think that it's reality. So 82% here are team reality. Well, the 18% are actually team fantasy. All right, let's move on. And I'd like to hand over the time now to founder and CEO of VentureBlick, Chris. Take it away, Chris. Tell us a bit about VentureBlick and why we're doing this webinar. Over to you.
Okay, thanks, Janice. Hello, everyone. This is Chris Lee, founder of VentureBlick. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from across the globe. And I'd like to spend next few minutes to introduce VentureBlick and why we're doing this as a friendly reminder. So VentureBlick is actually founded about 2 years ago. In fact, we just had our second year anniversary a couple of weeks back, and then I posted that on LinkedIn about how I feel about VentureBlick getting into the second year. So you can read that on my LinkedIn post or VentureBlick LinkedIn post. But we all know that the healthcare innovation is very expensive, and we noticed that the more and more only the large global companies are taking the advantage of the innovations, like it or not. But we noticed that we came to the conclusion that it is about time that the healthcare innovation can come from anywhere. It doesn't have to be a big company or a small company. It can come from anywhere without any boundaries or restrictions. So we work with the innovators and local, collaborations with the local companies and big companies and small companies and investors and distributors. So we basically work with the healthcare ecosystem stakeholders as long as you have interest in healthcare, with the wish to bring the healthcare innovation to the global stage to meet the unmet medical need. So that was our initial intention. So next page. So with that in mind, we spent over a year, and a few months ago, we did introduce a one and only global one-stop platform called Discovery. You can check it out either by visiting ventureblick.com or discovery.com. You will see that. So our Discovery platform allow everyone to be accessible across the border without sector limitations, and we put a medical value and innovations first before anything else. So we encourage you to check it out because this is the only platform that allow you to go global and connect you with the entire healthcare ecosystem stakeholders from everywhere. And a couple of examples, we do this work online and offline. So we are working with the thousands of advisors, whether they're clinicians or industry experts and all that. So in fact, over the past couple of months, we did work with over 200 advisors working on actual projects and getting their opinions, whether it's the commercial strategies or medical validations or everything else in between. So that is going on as we speak. And we are also offering a service called tech scouting for large companies and small companies. So because these days you cannot do everything on your own, you need to do collaboration. So in fact, we just sealed one of the first deal with the top 10 global healthcare company to do a tech scouting on their behalf. So we'll be announcing that detail later on, and we expect more companies to join us so that we can actually bring that innovation to everyone who need that innovation. And then we are also offering go-to-market services for various companies from one end to the other end. And we also offer incubation and acceleration programs as well. In fact, next week we are hosting 15 promising Korean healthcare, mainly healthcare startup companies coming to Singapore. And they will be in Singapore for 6 weeks, fully sponsored by the Korean government to see whether any of them have a global potential to go global. So we work both online and offline. So I encourage you to check our discovery platform to learn more about the detail. Next page. So with that, this is a recap of what we have. We are currently working with 3,400 plus advisors that we have personally recruited individually. 70% of them are clinicians, and the other 30% of the industry experts, so they know what they're talking about. And then we have worked with over 1,000 companies from some 60 plus countries around the globe in helping them go global. And then we are also working with the 500 plus investment institution and individuals. And then we have a 200 plus partnership with various healthcare stakeholders. And then the number of participants and people that we're working with are growing every day. So this is what we have. And then some of these things are the actual offline activities that we have done in various countries, ranging from Korea to Singapore to Germany to India. So we will be doing more of these things in the coming future. And this webinar is a second one that we are doing it, and that we plan to do this on a regular basis. So we hope that you guys can continue to log in next time we do the next seminar, and I hope you enjoy the webinar this time. Thank you for everyone joining at this hour, whether you're in the morning or afternoon or evening. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks so much, Chris. Thanks. And also, yes, thanks again, everyone who's joining. We're up to like 96 people now. So very happy to have everyone join us. Next up is Prof. Grace. I'm going to hand the time over to her, and she is actually an ENT surgeon who is also the CEO of Voignosis. So she's a clinician innovator and here to tell us a bit more about what she invented, and more importantly, on the topic, 4 very key points that she'd like to share about her experience with AI. Over to you, Prof. Grace.
Hi everyone. It's my first time joining this webinar. I'm very honored to talk about and share you guys with my little story, how I found Voignosis and what I'm doing right now. Let me just introduce myself a little bit about me. I was born in Seoul. I was raised in Seoul, but lived in United States when I was very little. And I came back to Korea. I went to high school and graduated from Seoul National University Medical School, trained at Asan Medical Center. And surprisingly, interestingly enough, every time that there was a new digital adaptation in the hospital, such as OCS or EMR system, I was in the forefront and was first to learn and communicate with these developers. And throughout my medical career, I was very lucky to have a broad experience ranging from research to hospital regulations. And also from now, I'm a director of the clinical trial center for the 3 years in a row. And I have also been a director in the outpatient treatment clinic as well, so which eventually led me to getting MBA degree from Korea University. And I also have been an insurance commissioner for Korean Otologic Society for 8 years. So I know the government system, the hospital system, and how the research works and all sort of things. So I'm an ENT doctor, and throughout my medical career, I have been 25 of my medical career. I've been prescribing hearing aids to elderlies, all ranging from hearing loss, mild cognitive impairment, and dementia. And my ear was able to tell the difference in their voices and the way they spoke. So I said, why not make an AI solution who could do the same? So that's the birth story of my company. And let me just introduce you a little bit about our digital prevention solution for our dementia. This is a picture of my dad. 9 years ago, he was diagnosed with vascular dementia. He had 2 bachelor's degrees, 1 PhD. He was a banker, analyst, a sincere Christian who I loved him dearly. But about 9 years ago, I heard a little weird soundings of his voice. It wasn't normal. So I took him to a tertiary hospital. And when you go to a tertiary hospital to trying to screen for the early onset of dementia, the first thing everybody does is what we call an MMSE, mini mental status exam. It's mostly globally all done for screening examination. And he did. Basically asking time, place, and a little bit about memory registration and so on. He scored perfectly. A year later, he did it again, he perfect score. But about 2 months later on, he fell due to an arrhythmia. And just by chance, I just let him took a brain MRI and boom, he was diagnosed with early onset of dementia, and it was progressing really fast. And this is a picture of him at that time. So I was really furious because I took him, for 2 years prior to this fall, and still they said he had no problem. But then, I realized he didn't. It wasn't correct. So most of the highly educated personnel, especially males, are detected very late, and poorly educated females are first detected. And the overall accuracy of MMSE was somewhere ranging from 30 to 90%, which is like horrendous, and averaging 70%. I thought it's not fit for a screening exam. So I was thinking about coming up with some sort of a more objective, more a brain health, called a brain health index, sort of a number, some sort of a number that we can monitor the patient, just like you would monitor your weight on a scale, or when you rate your hypertension, and then checking your blood pressure for your management of hypertension or sort of thing. So that was the idea. And so we came up with 2 products. One is for Brain Guard Doctor, targeting the hospital for early patient visiting hospitals and screening. And 2 is our B2C market voice check. And you can see on the screen how it's run really briefly, targeting most of the 40s and 60s who are worried about getting old. So it's more of a wellness device, a monitoring device. And what kind of technology allowed us to come up with this solution and screening exams? It was basically our patent. We have a special technology in addressing and analyzing the voice, the acoustic characteristics of the voice, using our own CNN architecture. And from that, we drew up a voice biomarkers, and we like to call it a voice DNA sequencing method. Here you can see 69 years old patients who are normal, from normal to hearing loss, mild cognitive disorder, and dementia, reading the same text for 47 seconds. And you can see in the blue bar very clearly, they're all different and distinguishable. Last year, there was a challenge in IEEE, ICASP conference about detecting dementia or with different languages. So we enrolled in. So with English-trained engine, we were able to detect Greek-speaking patients with accuracy of 87%, also became a global #1, beating MIT, Samsung R&D, and all the Tsinghua University, all the very renowned universities all around the world. And ultimately, we're trying to replace the analog MMSE with our new Brain Guard Doctor digital MMSE for screening and monitoring exam, which is more objective and more accurate. And we already done pre-clinical trial to 200 patients who visited Korean tertiary hospitals. And we, from a recognized committee, accreditation committee, that we were recognized having 91% sensitivity and 89 specificity. And we are going to apply for a Korean FDA approval this year, and hoping that it will be finalized early next year. So what are the benefits? With our voice-based service, you could do this test anytime, any place, with a higher accuracy at a lower cost. And also you could share with number, the monitoring at home, and also the physician of your choice as well. And for a commercialization service with a voice check or B2C application, we are doing POCs all over the globally, all around the world, in US, Japan, and Korea as well. And currently we are doing POC with Hyundai Automobile and really going well. And here are our teams. We have CIO Eunhee Kim, and we have a CTO Namjoon Kim, and we have a COO Tae-eun Gu, who is sharing Dream with me. As a clinician, when I was first thinking about AI, there were three concerns for me. The first thing was, will AI replace my job? You know, what I do as a clinician. Well, that was one concern. Second thing was, do I need to be an expert in AI or computer programming or whatever? I mean, I've studied so much all this medicine, and now with this new coming technology, do I need to be expert on it too? And third, is AI, although you know how wonderful they are they humane enough? Because after all, we're treating these patients, these sick people, these vulnerable people. So those were three concerns that I still have. But then I thought there would be more advantages of using the AI and implementing it into my practice rather than getting afraid of these three ideas. So this is a brief map about our university. On the far left, there's a hospital where I work right now. And in the middle, there's artificial lake. And on the right, there's engineering school. So I called Professor Kim one day, and I asked her to come over to this cafe right in the middle, as you can see in a heart shape. We sat together about 3 hours, and I told her about my ideas. And I said, I can give you the data. Can you make the solution? And she said, well, I'll try. Why not? If you can give me the good data, I'm sure I could come up with something. So that's how it all started. So I went back to writing IRB, and then I gave her, after 3 months, I gave her the data and stuff. So my experience with AI, coming from a medical background, knowing nothing at all about computer programming or AI at the beginning, to us, to the medical doctors, most of the artificial intelligence means they are robots. They're automatic. They could do anything they want to do. They make their own decisions. But that's not really true. Most of the AIs that we are using in the medical field, I think it's the term of augmented intelligence is more fit, meaning that they aid us in imitating some of the parts that we do, and also suggest decisions that we're making. They're helping us and giving more or better suggestions. That's what I think. And second, implementing any kind of idea, a clinical idea, and into building up a startup. I think there are 5 things that you really, really need to take care of. 1, you need to critically review the system and consider all the steps from the beginning to end, and to make sure that you know it all. And second, identify the target, like I did. I mean, my father went through vascular dementia, so I know all the process, how the patient goes and how all the process went. And then identify the target, which was the MMSE. It was so stupid. It was inaccurate, really made me mad because of that, my dad was diagnosed late. So that was the target that I was aiming for. And then effectively communicate of the needs. But because most of my nurses, my friends, they all knew about my dad, they were so they were so passionate about helping me. And second, and fourth, collecting sufficient data for training the AI, but sufficient, also very pure data for the training the AI, which was now the expert domain comes. And also assess and identify the vulnerability and have the backup plan. So make sure that when you are making an AI solution, when I did, though how I did it, I wanted to make sure that it was reliable. So I didn't go for diagnosis. Of course, everybody wants to diagnose and everybody wants to treat, but I knew that there was some vulnerability, and there was no way to prove everyone that this was a perfect diagnostic new tool. That takes a very long time, and the medical doctors are very conservative. So I said to myself, let's go for screening, and also what they really want for monitoring system. They really wanted a monitoring system. Because there was no number or a specific or objective tool for monitoring these cognitive patients after they go under medication. So why don't I use our solution as a monitoring system for that? So those things, backup plans.
Prof. Grace, we just have about 2 more minutes for your segment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So data was very important, and understanding each other. So AI is not an omnipotent thing, but as a medical doctor, you don't need to be an expert. As long as you can just have a sufficient understanding of the capabilities of the AI and the limitations of the AI is more than enough. And I think you should always try to be a leader in that sense. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Grace, for that sharing. There's actually people who are interested in learning more about your technology. So perhaps you can continue this conversation on chat with them. Yeah, you can, while we have the panel discussion, you can go ahead. And for everybody who's joining us, 100 over people, if you have any questions, please populate the Q&A, use the Q&A function. And right now, I actually like to hand the time over to Sharif. She is the Startup Relations Lead for VentureBlick in South Asia. Over to you, Sharif. She's going to lead us in a very interesting discussion with 3 more speakers.
Sure. Hello, everyone. It's wonderful to see so many people joining from different locations, clinicians and industry experts alike. And that's exactly why we've assembled a panel here with you today with similar backgrounds. We have 3 panelists who will be joining us for the discussion now. We have one of our medical advisors, Dr. Mabel Au. She's based in Singapore, and she's a former doctor turned machine learning engineer. So she comes from both a builder perspective as well as someone who's gone through problems like this every day in her practice. We also have another medical advisor joining us, Dr. Max. He's based in Germany, and he's a robotic neurosurgery expert. He's an expert in all the types of realities, AI, VR, everything. But he's also a senior consultant in neurosurgery, and he trains and mentors neurosurgeons on a regular basis on how to use robotic systems and technologies. And apart from Dr. Max, we have Anup Sawant. He's an industry advisor with us at VentureBlick. He's based in India, and he has over 14 years of experience in AI with clinicians and clients based across the globe. He's the founder of Pyrac and a leading AI solutions provider. And he talks to doctors on a regular basis to make his products better and better. So welcome all of our panelists. Thanks for joining us today. To get this, debate rolling a bit further, I'd like to pose this question to all the panelists we have today, which is mainly, what are your views? Has AI indeed enhanced patient outcomes? So anyone who would like to take this, you're welcome to chip in.
Maybe I can start for this question. For my opinion, I really believe that the AI and the AR has enhanced the patient treating quality, because 5 to 10 years ago, spinal instrumentation, a regular neurosurgical practice, has been done by a board-certified neurosurgeon, because you only has got the fluoroscopy and no navigation, no robotics, and you have to be a very well-trained spinal surgeon to do this on a good manner. Now we were able to teach the technique of implementation of spinal screws to our residents using the navigation and the computer learning, which supports us in OR to do this on a very good clinical practice. So we are able to teach and make the residents earlier able to do these surgeries and enhance the quality, because they are earlier trained and well trained to do this surgery later when they are board certified on their own.
Yeah, I mean, I'm coming at this from a person who doesn't know how AI is applied to surgery specifically. So could you elaborate a bit more on that?
5-10 years ago, it got the pricing and the possibility to purchase such system more and more easier. Years ago, it was only able for the big hospitals and the university hospitals to afford such tools and possibilities, but now it's that you use navigation in neurosurgery, cranial as also on spinal. It's a common use. You use it on a daily basis. The residents are well trained, and it helps you to tailor your approach or the technique on a narrow base, so you are more radical in your surgery, but with a less chance to damage the patient using the navigation, because you know for each millimeter where you are and how you place your screws, or where are you inside the brain, so it makes it much more safer.
So is it in terms of the imaging that comes out of your microscope that's augmented with AI? Do I understand that correctly?
Yes. Also, you are able now with the major producer of microscope to put in your navigation directly in your microscope, that there's no need to look up from your microscope. And last year, one of the big navigation suppliers were able to get the CE marked and the FDA clearance for their googles that you wear it, and you can do on spinal surgery where you didn't use the microscope. You are able to do the surgery by very small skin incisions and got a projection of your radiography directly in your VR googles, and you have not to look up from your surgical site to a monitor or something else. You have got everything on place. So it makes it more safer and more efficient.
That's really amazing. So I think a lot of the science fiction that we've grown up watching is slowly coming into play. I mean, I assume that AI builders are sci-fi fans. Perhaps Anup is as well. So Anup, like, given your extensive experience with AI across industries, I mean, you're not just working with healthcare, right? But how does healthcare stand out in terms of AI adoption? Like, what are the specific factors that make it more challenging or perhaps even rewarding when it comes to AI in healthcare?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's currently it's at the top in terms of the adoption, and there's a stark difference in how it was about 2 to 3 years ago. But lately, since about 1.5 years or so, since the onset of ChatGPT and all of the language models, especially, the major difference that I have seen so far is some of the senior doctors, are seriously getting involved into this. And one of the major roadblocks that we always had with infusion of AI into the medical industry was, first of all, data, as Professor Sheen mentioned. And the other important hurdle was really dedication of senior doctors into solving the problem. Because let's suppose if I'm running the hospital and I want some AI software to be running at my place, I would literally have to donate one of my doctors in order to help solve the problem. Because without the domain expertise, especially in the medical field where the accuracy is of real importance, and you can't really negotiate on the accuracy measures, it becomes extremely important for doctors to get involved. And so what I have seen lately is not just the clinicians, but some of the top surgeons getting involved. We are currently developing products for doctors in New Zealand and United States, as well as here at Mumbai Oncology Center. And all of these are top cancer doctors that we have. And they are really putting in hours and hours into infusing the domain knowledge that you need for the AI algorithm to work. So there's a lot of exhilaration, a lot of excitement, because the data is getting available. That's not a problem. But along with the data, you have a lot of domain expertise being created. So that entire argument of garbage in and garbage out is slowly getting countered because you really have doctors like Dr. Mabel, who are at the intersection of machine learning and medicine. But then you also have doctors who are willing to embrace themselves, into this AI era as one of the domain experts. So really the best times that you could imagine for an AI expert like us to get involved into the health-related issues.
That's a really optimistic perspective. So I want to know the flip side as well, which of these capabilities are more aspirational than others and than practical? What is needed to bring them closer to reality? So what are the challenges as well? Because we are seeing uptake of adoption, I agree, but there will be some that simply don't work for the use case.
Correct, correct. So a lot of these use cases, they typically start with solutions that I have seen which don't majorly impact directly the outcome of the process, or they are sort of working tangentially in the entire workflow. So one of the examples that I would love to give is we have a team of doctors here in India who are solving cancer patient related issues on everyday basis, and the tool or solution sort of helps the doctor to quickly find out the treatment pathways or the information across the guidelines in different countries. So one of them is NCCN guidelines. So those sort of solutions are well embraced, and they're sort of less risky in terms of how doctors want to adopt to AI in a tricky situation like cancer, because each patient's cancer is different, I believe, right? And in that case, they are happy to adopt, they are happy to even see the tolerance of the solution. Obviously, they'll have an assistant to help verify the solution at the end of the day. But I think the real gain out here is to be able to increase the productivity when you typically have something like about 3,000 oncologists per 45 lakh cancer patients here in India. So that makes a huge deal to even solve a workflow related tangential problem, which will help you increase the productivity. So, and I think that sort of excitement, that sort of proof of concept really gets you into the core of solving the more critical problems with the help of AI.
And on the flip side, what do you see on the flip side?
On the flip side,
where does it just fall apart,
I think it falls apart when doctors really have to interact with patients. So they can't, it's really risky for the doctors to even say that they are using some AI tool to help diagnose something or to help figure something out. Because,
does that clash with their credibility? Would you consider that to
they have that fear,
clash?
yes. They have that. I mean, the kind of doctors that I interact with on day-to-day basis, they really do have that fear that if they were to disclose that they are using this tool, the patient would sort of hesitate to approach and rely on the digital exhaust, right? So yes, but I think the hospitals themselves, the treatment centers themselves, they really want to boost the adoption of AI. So that's the strong. So you really have for an AI expert, it's just soothing to see that there's a lot of backing from the medical institutions to
That's
roll out.
wonderful. Yeah.
Because I think they are getting stressed on one hand, and they know that sooner or later they will have to adopt the solutions, and even the patients on the other hand will get used to working with these solutions at the same time.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of stressed, I think Dr. Mabel, you mentioned that you've been working as a doctor for so many years, and then you had so many frustrations with technology adoption while maintaining the regular workflows and making sure data is secure, and then somewhere you have to dig out this corner to make sure your patient is fine, right? So in terms of practicality, what do you see? How has your perspective changed, when you were a doctor versus now you're in the machine learning engineer role? So how has it changed for you?
The change was quite, I would say, I guess the change was quite significant. Like, so as a user of the healthcare, like the EMR, like the electronic medical record system, and then like when I look after a patient, I have to look at like lab results, I have to look at the past histories and past medications, the past discharge summaries, and all of this can be stored in multiple softwares, in multiple and all in the same desktop, and you have to open all of it up just to view for a single patient. And then imagine doing that multiple times when you have a long list of patients to look after. So I guess at that point when I was the ward doctor, I just felt very frustrated with why do I have to deal with so many systems just to get something done for a patient. And I thought there has to be it has to be quite easy to put it all together, right? Like is it no, then now that I have on the other side, I realized that it's actually like this. It's not easy in the sense that it's not that the code is difficult to implement, like coding to feed systems together, is relatively straightforward. But when it comes to actually implementing it, working with different solution providers, different IT teams across different companies, just to get something to work, is one of the biggest barrier. Yeah, because like if the other side changes something and then you don't know about it, and then you find out later because something breaks, then it's a lot of like a cat and mouse situation. Yeah, so
And you
now
mentioned to
yeah.
me in a previous conversation that that was one of your personal drivers to get on the other side, on the building side of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was one of my personal pain points, was to go on the other side to see what is so difficult about this, and why they just cannot get it done. And now I
Right.
understand why. Yeah. And yeah, just have to keep working on it, and hopefully one day, maybe in 50 years time, if I'm still alive,
That's light years when it comes to AI.
yes. Yeah, hopefully by then it will be a lot better. Yeah.
All right. Oh, so I do see some contradictory points there, because I would have assumed that people who are used to systems would be it would be smoother transition to adopt more systems, but there could be system overwhelm as well. So Anup, you are dealing with clients in different cultures, having different healthcare systems, or maybe places like India where systems are still being adopted by clinicians here. What are the differences you see when you look at it globally?
I mean, in terms of the adoption, or
Or just when it comes to usage by the clinicians, like Mabel mentioned that she had to think about another system on top of all of these pre-existing ones.
Truth be told, I think if you were to deploy a healthcare related solution outside India, you really have to go through a lot of regulations and checks to make sure that it fits. Whereas a lot of digital trace in India is still getting built up. So, there's not a lot of record or bookkeeping per se for everything that you have. So I would give you an example that, for example, in a lab, you're getting some readings out of a machine. They're not entirely tied to the ERP system of the healthcare institution. So there is sort of discrepancy in how much data is getting generated and whether that data is interdependent within the same organization. So so a lot of the solutions start from ground up, and a lot of these institutions in India or the clients in India are sort of okay for you to take up steps to stitch it all together and worry about the regulations at a later point of time once you have something at hand. Whereas in countries like United States, you really have to establish the fact that you're not going to be tampering unnecessarily with sensitive data, and then the regulations are in place, the security is in place, and then you really chalk out a plan on how you want to implement the things. So because there is a lot of digital exhaust there, I mean, a lot of interconnectivity is happening through digital platforms. I'll give you a simple example. If you want to roll out an AI solution for medical plus pharma at this point of time, in India, you don't really have a good tool for you to be able to market medicines to doctors, because you don't really know their own preferences in their own region. So, and that's why pharma companies would love you to solve that problem, but it's a chicken and egg problem. You don't have the data. In that case, pharma companies would come forward and help you in any way possible to mitigate that solution. But that's not the case in the United States. In the United States, you already have so much of data that you spend months to prove yourself that you can efficiently roll out the solutions based on these foundations in place. And then when it comes to implementing the solution, it's relatively much easier. So in India, it's easier to get into solving the problem. In United States, it's a little difficult, or probably countries outside the India, most of the Western countries, it's a little difficult to get into the problem in the first place. And I would say it's these days it has become easier to solve a healthcare related problem in India because of willingness to support tech and help the tech guys implement the solution, at least to a level of proof of concept. I wouldn't really say a go-to-market product, but at least to a level of proof of concept. So that's really the difference when I'm looking at the AI solution market from the eyes of an AI entrepreneur at this point.
Thanks for sharing that. I think it's really interesting to see the global trends as well. Dr. Max, I know that you mentioned specific cases for neurosurgery, but when it comes to implementing AI in everyday practice, because surgery is one part of what a doctor does in a day, right? So on a scale of concept to reality, how close are we to fully integrating AI in everyday practice?
Looking at the moment as a static view, it's not the daily integration or that it's fully integrated. We are now in the status that is accepted, and it maybe it's an everyday use, but a fully integration will be in 5 or 10 years. When you're looking to radiology, you see that whereas using AI tools to do different scales or calculations, so it got more and more familiar. But as mentioned previously from other colleagues, that where's some kind of the decision makers in the hospital, the head of the department, were very restrictive and were do not like how now the AI works. They are skeptical because they say they have learned on a different way, and they trust in their hands, on their head, if they're or what they are doing. And now there's some AI or robotic tool doing this work. They are very skeptical. And I think the step for the next 5 years will be that these people are the colleagues, the deputy directors will be brave to use this on a daily basis, because looking at robotics, sometimes it's much slower than a human being, but we have to be brave to use this on a daily basis, do the learning, and to make it able that these kind of techniques or robotics, AI can develop further, and that will be the next step for the 5 years, that maybe in 5 to 10 years, we have got a daily trustful integration in the work. That it should not distinguish or erase the medical doctors. It should be a partnership that they work on the same level and make the life easy and for more faster and efficient, I think.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. It's interesting that you use the word brave, right? So my next question is, Dr. Mabel, how do you get rid of this qualm, right? Like, how do you go from brave to application? So in your opinion, how is it easiest to stay engaged or educated on AI for someone who's a beginner or a novice when it comes to AI? Like doctors are experts in their own fields, but AI is something new to them.
Okay, actually, AI just basic concepts that it's made out of math. It's just algorithms and lots of math. If you learn algebra in school, then you basically know artificial intelligence in a way, in a very simplistic way. Yeah, so like just deriving and reasoning from there. So if artificial intelligence is made out of like algebra and very complex algebra equations, then some of the algorithms are just multiples of that, then and then everything is just derived from that. So then data is the one that teaches the algorithm. So everything that it comes whatever that's the input, the output will be based on the input. So it's all also about patterns.
Mhm.
And then
It's very
clinicians
much
are,
about patterns, right?
yes,
It's very
and
much about
clinicians are
what
also
doctors are.
trained to recognize
Exactly.
patterns as well. So
Yeah.
it's just that though our training is very everyone is very personal. It's a very personal journey for every clinician will see different patients. No one clinician has the same journey. So and you have different, and the way you reflect on your journey is also very different. So AI is just a more uniform version of a clinician, I suppose, if you can, because you just throw all the data and then whatever comes out is the output that is based on whatever is learned on. Except for generative AI, then it's a different story because that one is a little it's not so deterministic in the output. So sometimes you can't really predict what really comes out of it. Yeah.
Wow. So it's just math is what I got.
Yes. It's just math.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's nice that you make it more approachable that way. And pattern recognition is definitely one of the key things that AI brings. It automates for everyone. So thanks for sharing, everyone. Perhaps we will take some questions from the people who are joining us at the webinar today. I'm just pulling them up as we speak. And I'm also checking the chat here.
Yeah, there are a couple of open questions, I think, right now. And I know that Prof. Grace, you've been actively addressing those that were addressed to you. But I think right now there's one from Dinakar. The question is, please provide inputs on CI or BI healthcare, which AI can implement.
I'm not sure I understand that question.
Yeah. Dinakar, if you're still with us, would you like to elaborate a bit on that question, perhaps while we tackle another question? Oh, more questions coming in. One from an anonymous attendee. Which is the LLM idea most likely to catch on as a daily use in hospitals?
Oh, the large language model.
Yeah.
Well, many of the technicians are trying to build an LMN, the large language model, to assist the doctors to typing the records, medical records, and so on. But to tell you the truth, if the LML model is really made well enough, what it really can do, it can assist doctors as assistant AI medical doctor. For example, like getting basic informations from the patients, because in Korea we see a lot of we see a lot of number of patients a day, and every time we can't get comprehensive history of their medical history every single time they come in. Like for example, today I had 3 hours of morning clinic. I saw 47 patients in the time. So that's really vast amount of patients, and I can't just take comprehensive medical history for every one of them. But if we had a assistant medical doctor, for example, who can take basic history from them, that would be really great. For me, I think there's a great potential there because the number of doctors compared to the increasing number of the population of elderlies are not catching up. Everywhere in the world, there's a shortage of medical doctors. And with the advance of so many, devices and different things that we could use in medicine, but there isn't no people. Not enough medical personnel can supervise all those processes and all those medical devices and all those, treatment, digital treatments, and check them out and make sure that they're going in the right direction and so on. So I think for a, on a daily use in hospital, assisting me has become like an intern, who could just take a basic backup history of the patient, medical history of the patient. That will really help me, in my clinic.
Thanks for answering that. Do we have time for one more question?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
So there's a question which I'm not sure from what aspect, but they've written certification for clinician to use AI, question mark.
Yeah. Well, it's the very first question that came up to my mind when I actually finished building up my solution. Will I let everyone to use my solution freely, or will I train the doctors or clinicians, my friends, my fellows, colleagues, train them or give some sort of education before the use of AI? Not a certification, because the doctors don't like the word certification. We have to get so many certifications from the government, from the institutions, so that's not a good word. But I think education is a good word. Yes, I do think that we need to educate clinicians on the limitations and the capabilities of the AI. For example, I had a company where they were recording the clinicians' voices in the surgical rooms, okay? And then you need to call up the conversational AI first. For example, hello, Dr. AI, or Dr. Blue Aid AI, whatever the name was, I forgot. But then, right after they call, they need to wait 3 seconds. Do you think the clinicians were able to wait 3 seconds? No, they just start talking. And the AI says, no, you got to say it one more time because I didn't hear you. And then they got so frustrated. So you need to let them know how it works. And you need to be patient with AI, just like you would need to be patient with the patient. But yes, I think educating is very important.
So you say that, you need to be patient. Maybe Dr. Max, you can tell us, how long did it take for you to see neurosurgeons comfortable with using AI during surgery?
I think it depends how previous use of AI tools, and also like using the navigation, it's like playing a video game in some kind of to get familiar. I compare it to the endoscopic surgeries, where you have to do a completely different thinking because you only have got the screen and the endoscope. It's kind of a learning curve, and it depends on.
But could you give me a number, like a month, 3 months, or in terms of number of surgeries where you saw them, being comfortable?
I think after a year you feel comfortable. Now I'm using about 10 years all navigation and all these tools, and I call me not completely 100% expert for these, because sometimes it came some challenges cases where the AI, the navigation, and I come to a kind of a border, and I think that is the research and the companies have to go with the clinicians, go further these borders. For the daily use, I feel totally comfortable, and I think after teaching 1 year, the resident feels also comfortable and handling the first complex cases, because it's not doing the surgeries or use it on an easy case or handle it without any problems. It's when it's more important when you get the point to be able to handle some kind of problems. And I think after the first year you have got be able to handle the first easy problems, and after I think 3 or 4 years you are able to handle nearly every problem which encounters you. But it's still a learning curve, and I'm also still on this learning curve because I'm not finished that until now.
Dr. Mabel, a number from you?
A number from me regarding
how long it takes for you to get comfortable with AI?
At the speed of how artificial intelligence and new algorithms are being discovered, not anywhere near.
Limit is yet to be reached.
Yes.
Can I add my opinion on that?
Maybe a number, just a number.
just
10 years maybe.
Okay. And Anup, in your opinion, how long do you think it takes?
To get comfortable with AI for doctors?
Yeah.
I have seen them getting comfortable in as short span as 6 months, to be honest. So,
Okay.
because there's a lot of competition and they want to be ahead of the game. If they are involved in a startup, they better be comfortable as soon as possible.
So it depends on the kind of clinician as well, and where they are in it when it comes to innovation. Yeah.
If they are personally invested in the problem, they are on it. So and this is one field where you'll see a lot of people are not at the mercy of their engineering background or any other background that they have. They just jump into it. So AI is now becoming a very domain agnostic technology that anyone can just get into it. As long as you understand the basics, I think you're there. I mean, you don't really have to be an expert in designing the models.
I think the reason why I say 10 years or more, because I guess I know the shortfalls of the solutions and I see flaws in every solution. So, yeah, I mean, like, I am impressed with the current LLMs, but also I see flaws. So that I guess that's why I'm never that comfortable that easily.
Yeah. I think there's comfort and then there's perfection as well.
Yeah.
We have about 2 more minutes, so I think we can maybe tackle one more question to close it. But in the meantime, I'll just launch a poll to see whether this discussion has actually swayed us from 82% reality and 18% fantasy. Let's see what our audience think. Go ahead, Shabri. Maybe one more question.
Yeah, we have one more question, which is, what are the opportunities and ways to get a clinician involved in AI healthcare projects? Who would like to take that one?
Maybe I
Dr.
can say
Yeah, go
something.
ahead. Last question, wrapping it up for
Yes, because I'm also one of the senior partners of one medtech company in Europe, and I get that step 6 years ago in 2018. I go to this company and was brave to support them with my medical knowledge. And I think you got, as a clinician, also a point of view out of the clinic, how the real life works, how the industry works, how competition works, how negotiation works. And I think you get a very good look on the whole healthcare market, how it works. And you got also the possibility to work and support this future kind of medicine. And you will be part of that. If you support us and go in AI research and everything and support them, you get a place and take part in evolving the medicine to this next level.
Yeah, and to add to that, what I've seen is tech startups who are into designing AI solutions for healthcare industry these days are constantly looking out for medical professionals who can really provide guidance, consulting, some sort of mentorship. And these are usually also paid opportunities in a lot of ways. And being on the other side of the problem, we really find dearth of medical professionals. At times, we even don't know who to reach out to because a lot of medical professionals are so busy. So if there are any interesting medical professionals out there, they should really visit Discovery as a platform, which is talking about a lot of AI startups and also startups like us who are trying to solve the problems but are falling short of doctors in the first place to help solve the problem. So a lot of opportunities out there.
Yeah, thanks for the plug. I was just about to mention Discovery too, because we have open projects there where we would love to have clinicians contribute their thoughts on the latest innovations that are coming out. So that's one easy way, to be an advisor with us and give us feedback on what you think about the newest innovations.
Great.
Well, thanks a lot, panelists, for joining us today. It was a wonderful discussion, and I agree with the audience when they say that. So over to you, Janice.
Thank you so much, Shabri, Dr. Max, Mabel, and Prof. Grace for all your insights. So the poll, actually, we are even more firm that it's a reality. 93% say it's a reality, only 7%. So I guess the discussion was really, really insightful. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And if you'd like to find out more about the next webinar, please subscribe to our newsletter so that you can be notified on the next webinar. I hope you had a fantastic time. Continue to follow us on LinkedIn for more updates from Discovery and VentureBlick. And see you at the next webinar. Bye, everyone.